Okay, so I just watched the first episode of Lovecraft Country. Now, before I get into the absolute bullshit of the show, and not to mention the brain dead stupid of this show, I will get there. I quickly want to cover. Okay, I'm going to be all over the place because there's just so much to cover on this show. After I watched the episode, I wanted to go online to check out reviews of this show because I just wanted to see what the consensus was going to be, and I wanted to see if anybody, had the same, reaction to this show that I did. Of course not. I'm watching some reviews. The level of dick sucking by these reviewers over this show was astounding, mixed in with the absolute brain dead stupid that they had to go through to accept this show, and the ignorance and not even knowing anything about Lovecraft. But not knowing anything about Lovecraft is essential to being able to make it through this show. Being a brain dead idiot is essential to being able to make it through this show. Okay. I obviously have to cover the first, okay. I can't even call it the first part of the show because out of an hour and 9, the episode was an hour and 9 minutes. The first 55 minutes to an hour of the episode was pretty much an after-school special about racism. It wasn't even relevant to the goddamn story. Like, episode 1, the first hour of an hour and 9 minute episode was filler. You're starting off your show with an hour of filler in an hour and 9 minute episode. It was just, and it wasn't so much the fact that it was an hour of lecturing about racism, okay? It wasn't even so much the fact that it was just laid on so goddamn thick and in your face. The problem that the reason I was willing to slog through all that bullshit and lecturing was because this was supposed to be, based off of the Lovecraftian horror and writing, that they were going to go, actually incorporate the Lovecraftian horror and cosmic horror into the goddamn show? Well, of course not. Because I figured that they would, I'm thinking, okay, they're laying on the racism aspect really thick because they're going to somehow, incorporate the horror elements into the racism and somehow, somehow incorporate the racism with the cosmic horror aspects of Lovecraftian writing and use it somehow. No, of course not. It's a bunch of hacks who have no goddamn... They don't even know the monsters they're using, okay? Because, in the last 10 minutes... I'm going to jump all over the place. I apologize. In the last 10 minutes, you kind of have it that Atticus goes, they're probably Yogoths, creatures with a million eyes. But then, when you actually see the creatures, it's like, are they Yogoths or are they deep ones? Or are they actually an amalgamation of both? Have these guys even read Lovecraft? No, wait a minute. No, apparently not. Because it's based off of a book written in 2016. It's not even based off of Lovecraftian writing. It's oh my... You had one reviewer going, I bet H.P. Lovecraft is spinning in his grave because since he was racist, they have black people. It's like, why would he? It's not like you're actually using Lovecraft story writing, cosmic horror elements, or any. You're not. The only thing this show did was write a was right and create a piss ass stupid ass show that nobody would watch and just pasted Lovecraft on the title. Like this, the only reason anybody even gave this show a shot was because it pasted the word Lovecraft on the title. It actually banked. This show is such a piece of shit. It knew that it had to bank on the Lovecraft name just to get people to watch this show. Because on its own, nobody would have watched this show. If this was its own independent, unique story, nobody would have watched it. Nobody would have given a rat's ass about this show. This show literally needed Lovecraft's name, who they apparently have no problem talking about how racist and bad he is, but literally need to bank on this racist person. They need to bank on the name of this racist person to actually be able to get people to watch their show. Like, it's not even hypocrisy. They're just bullshit artists. Now, so like the first hour is really just nothing but, an after-school special on racism. Then we get to the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes is so full of plot convenience and brain dead stupid and they shove so much of it in within like 6-7 minutes that within 2 minutes of by the time at around like the 1 hour and 2 minute mark, I was going, can we go back to the after school special show about racism? Because at least it was because I actually like Atticus. Like Atticus's character is the only person that helped me able to make it through the first hour. Was I really liked Atticus's character. He was really well done. But most of the first hour, it's not even set up or build up. It's introducing. It's taking it took an hour to introduce characters that could have been done in 20 minutes. Okay, but because this show needs, just like with The Witcher and with The Mandalorian, they had to stretch this out to try and make it be however many episodes it was. But I have to get to the stupid. Okay, this was the fun part. Was actually watching the level of brain dead stupid necessary to be able to make it through the last 10 minutes of this episode is the same brain dead stupid necessary to be able to like The Witcher show and The Mandalorian. Okay, so if you're one of those brain dead morons that thought The Mandalorian was okay and didn't have any problems, and you're the same brain dead morons that was able to watch The Witcher and not see any of the stupid in it, this show is for you. This show, because you have to have. Okay, so they cross the county line, and right at the end of the county line, you see the other police officers, the other sheriffs for the other county. Now they bring Atticus, Letty, and Uncle George into the forest that we previously found out that is not only rumored but established to have people missing from it. So the police officers and the sheriff brought, Uncle George, Letty, and Atticus into a forest they had to know had wild creatures and people were missing from. But the show needed to somehow get them to have the creatures. So without any to establish how brain dead you had to be, that's how they had to get the characters into the forest. Now, they get into the forest, and then we have it that the creatures start showing up. Right now, I'm gonna be jumping a bit because it's all kind of connected. So you have it explained that because after they all start killing everybody, Uncle George grabs a flashlight and he makes it safely back to the cabin. Okay, so I'm sorry I'm jumping around because there's just so much interconnected stupid. this cabin? Because it's not like this was an abandoned cabin. Okay? This cabin was furnished and lived in. Who's living in this cabin in the middle of a forest that has these... Again, I don't know if they're deep ones or Yoggoths. I'm just going to call them deep ones. Even though there's no water anywhere around. Because, it's not like, you have to know anything about, Lovecraftian lore to know that the deep ones, come from the deep, the water. That's it. But no, in the middle of a forest. Okay, so apparently there's this cabin furnished, so they all go in, right? And then they all Atticus and Uncle George. But this is after the sheriffs come in and he was bitten or whatever, and they're shoving because they need to get the car because of the light. I'll get to it. I know I'm all scattered. I apologize. So they're gonna have Letty go run to the car and bring it back, right? Okay. So now remember, they're shoving furniture in front of the door to jam it, right? Okay. So they open it up, Lady goes out and she runs. And then they shove the furniture back in front of the door, right? Then Atticus goes to a window to look out, to check out on Letty. And I'm going, well, why can't the creatures just smash through the window to get them? Well, they can't do that because then they would die. And to make even matters worse, after Letty comes in with the car and smashes the sheriff that's been transformed, what does the sheriff do to escape? Oh, I don't know. Smashes through the window. So Uncle George ends up getting the flashlight, right? And that's how, and he makes it safely to the cabin. And their explanation is the reason they didn't attack him is because he had the flashlight, and the creatures are apparently afraid or don't like the light, right? Okay. Except here's the thing, you boneheaded show, and you idiots who had no idea what was going on. Uncle George took the flashlight from the police officer who already had the flashlight that one of the creatures attacked. Well, if the light scares and repels the creatures, why would the creature attack the only police officer with the light, you idiots? The only reason Uncle George was able to grab the flashlight because he took it off the dead police officer that the creature killed in the first place. Like this show literally has it so that the creatures are afraid of the light and not afraid of the light whenever the story requires it to. I got lost. Okay, so anyway, so Letty has got to go. Letty has to get to the car. Now, this is no longer a Lovecraftian story. This isn't Lovecraft. This suddenly became an 80s horror flick, with Jason and Freddy Krueger and Chucky, because it's the girl running through the forest being chased by monsters. That's not Lovecraftian horror, you idiots. This is 1980s slasher flick, because then she gets to the car, right? and then the car won't start. It's like, oh my god! Like what? All that's missing is her running by a couple of teenagers making out in the forest, right? Because the reason that they have to establish the tension of the car is because the creature is chasing them, and then once the creature actually gets to the point where it can actually kill and attack Letty, it starts to suddenly slow down. That's when it decides to slow down, when it's there, when it's right in front of Letty, giving Letty enough time to turn the car on and get the lights on. Wow, how goddamn convenient. Then Letty drives the car. Now remember, here's the plan. Letty's supposed to go get the car, drive it back, keep the headlights on to keep away the creatures, so that Uncle George and Atticus and I guess the police officers would get in the car and would drive away. But while Letty's gone, in the cabin, the sheriff starts transforming into a humanoid version of the Deep One. Again, I'm assuming it's the Deep One. It's the closest that they got. I'm just going to call them creatures because they're not even Cthulhu monsters anymore. So the sheriff is transforming into one of the creatures. And Letty, now the guns are all used up. There's no more bullets. Atticus and Uncle George are about to die. So what happens? Letty smashes through the cabin and conveniently hits the sheriff. Now, here's the thing. Letty didn't know that the sheriff had transformed into a creature. There was no way for Letty to have known that. So why would Letty smash through the cabin unless the story is written by such hacks and bullshit artists and have no capabilities and are just so goddamn stupid and are hoping that the audience are so stupid that Letty would go, well, we need to somehow find a way to stop the creature from killing Atticus and Uncle George, so we're just going to have Letty smash through the cabin for no reason whatsoever, with no justification or no explanation. Then, so they get out, and the creatures leave, right? Then they start throwing flares, and there's like over 3 dozen flares. How do they have 3 dozen flares all over the place? Who stocked up on 3 dozen flares? Because there's like these red dots. I mean, it was a cool visual. It was a cool effect. But it's like, where did they pack 3 dozen flares? Don't think about it. Not using your brain in a Lovecraftian story is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Counterintuitive, and such an oxymoron. For you to have to be brain dead reading or watching a Lovecraftian type story doesn't work. Okay, this is such bare level stupid. Okay, so they have the flares, whatever, right? But the show goes, well, the flares obviously aren't going to last all night. I don't see why not. There's so much other level of stupid. You could easily have the flares last 12 hours. It's not like the audience was smart enough to know the difference anyway. But instead, out of nowhere, this whistling shows up and the creatures leave. I guess they ran out of special effect budget money, and that's how they... Like, how? Why? What? Who? Why were they attacking? The level of plot convenience and pathetic hack bullshit writing is just amazing. Then the scene comes up where the sun comes up, right? Now, you now have Atticus, Uncle George, and Letty walking down the road they couldn't find. This was the road that they couldn't find. Remember? Yet because the show goes, oh crap, there's only 6 minutes left or 4 minutes left in the episode. We have to somehow get our main characters to the house. So what do? Just have it show up find the road and walking. Not only that, why are they walking? It's not like the car was damaged enough that they couldn't drive the car. I actually went back to check. The front of the car was fine. There was no damage. It wasn't banged up. They could have driven the car. But let's say the car couldn't be driven. Fine? Okay, fine. Go back and go talk and grab the police car. They stole the police car, right? Why didn't you take the police car? Now, here's another question. You just interacted with otherworldly monsters that killed that killed other people, police officers or otherwise. The police car has a radio. Wouldn't you have called and gone on the radio to go, hey, there's some goddamn monsters in this place. You might want to come here and get the body. Like, they literally stopped caring and not even incorporated the fact that they just encountered creatures. And it's like, yeah, no, whatever. Okay, that's done. We still have to go to the house. We still have to go to the house. We have no way. Oh my God. The level of just, it was hilarious. Hopefully, next episode won't have an hour of lecturing. But, oh my God. I thought I would have had to wait till season 2 of The Mandalorian to be able to get this, or season 2 of The Witcher, to get to this level of stupid. But my God, this show is hilarious. It's such brain dead stupid. I loved it. The last 10 minutes actually made up for the boring first hour. Like, if I had known, I could have skipped the first hour and just watched the last 10 minutes. But no, yeah, you brain dead morons. But for those of you who saw the last 10 minutes and didn't notice all the stupid, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for you, to let you know how goddamn brain dead stupid you all are, to not having noticed it. Anyway, this is getting too long as it is. I got more, believe me, but I'm done. I'm all, I let it all out. Anyway, I'm out of here. See you in episode 2.